Bard on the Plains podcast with Mike McPeak. It's about stories, mine and yours.
As I record this, I'm approaching my 58th birthday. I've always been a little weird about my birthday. First of all, it falls in the month of February. It's the Rodney Dangerfield of months. You can pause here and Google to find out the significance of that joke. Go ahead, I'll wait. You back? Okay. I mean, it doesn't even get 30 days, which is the bare minimum for the rest of the month. But every 4 years, it does get an extra day, so we do get a bone thrown to us once in a while. Also on the calendar, it falls in a weird spot. The holidays are done, and the New Year's resolutions that you have made have turned into a steaming pile of crap, and reality is starting to set in. After you've cleaned out your driveway for the 300th time, winter is starting to get really tiresome. But the official start of spring is still 30 days away. Not 28 like this month has. That is if Mother Nature stays on her meds and it doesn't stretch out until April. And like I said earlier, the blush of the holidays have faded. But wait, you say, there's Valentine's Day. Unless you're a lovelorn high school kid whose birthday falls cruelly 2 days after Valentine's Day. My biggest goal in high school was to have someone of the female persuasion to spend time with. Apparently being able to name all 9 of the planets in order, this was before poor Pluto got demoted. Blast you scientists. And being able to use the slide rule wasn't as big a turn-on as I had thought. Today we make the tech that makes the world run, but back then it would just help you get the tour of the inside of your locker. So I would compensate by seeing who else shared a birthday and a birth month with me. Some of our greatest leaders were born in February. Ronald Reagan, George Washington, and Abraham Lincoln were born this month. Famous singers include Alice Cooper, Garth Brooks, Sheryl Crow, and George Harrison. Comedians such as Tommy Smothers, I know I'm old, look 'em up. Red Buttons, again, look 'em up. Harvey Korman and Chris Farley. For those of you into sports, there's Hank Aaron and Babe Ruth. Other notables include Clyde Tombaugh, who discovered Pluto, who's no longer a planet. Blast you, scientists. Farrah Fawcett, James Dean, Thomas Edison, Jennifer Aniston, and Galileo. Now on to the people who shared the birthday of February 16th with me. For geek creds, there's Elizabeth Olsen, who played the Scarlet Witch in the Avenger movies, and is the younger sister of the Olsen twins from the TV show Full House. And Christopher Eccleston, who played one of the doctors from the Doctor Who series. Also on the plus side is Amanda Holden. I have this weakness for watching clips of Britain's Got Talent on YouTube. Not the whole show, just the clips. And discovered her there. Those in the middle include some guys called The Weekend and Coffee. Don't know who they are, but I've never been against those things. There's Ice-T, not crazy about his music, but did a good job on the SVU TV show. And Sonny Bono. His music was okay, but he was able to be married to Cher, which gave me hope as a kid that my love life might come around, but on the other hand, he died by skiing into a tree. There's also Margot Frank, sister to Anne Frank. On the downside, we have Kim Jong-il, former dictator of North Korea, and father of the present dictator, Rocket Man Kim Jong-un. I also keep track of people who I actually know who share my birthday. There have been several kids at the high school, including a set of twins. Don't know how they felt about sharing this day with me. Hopefully they weren't freaked out. And the daughter of one of my classmates shares this date. I would kid her about this being God's idea of a practical joke because this classmate was one of the girls that I pined for in high school. Now, there's nothing special about 58. It's not like you get a plaque that says, "Congratulations, you're not dead yet." It's not a milestone birthday like 18 or 65, although it is the 40th anniversary of turning 18, so there is that. At 18, you legally become an adult, so you could vote, get drafted, or drink. At least I could, because the drinking age hadn't been raised yet. On the farm, you became an adult when you were old enough to take responsibility. I had chores at a young age and started to drive tractor when I was about 12 or so. But I had full adulthood thrust on me at 17 when my dad passed away, and I had to help Mom run the farm. But back then I was young and hopeful, and the future seemed bright. Even though I knew I was going to farm at the age of 18, for kids, it's a time of discovery. They go off to college or start a job. They set about figuring out who they are and what they want to be, having no idea what the future holds, but plowing ahead anyway. 65 lies ahead. We have no idea what's coming, but we have hope and we keep planning for the future. Maybe to do some of the things we put off. But now as I near 58, I stop and look around me now. One of the reasons I'm in a reflective mood is because about a month ago, Neil Peart, drummer of the rock band Rush, passed away. He was only 67. I've always liked their music going all the way back to the early days. To commemorate his life, Audible gave away audio versions of the books he had written. So I started by listening to probably the most depressing one of them all. One he wrote after his daughter died in a car accident and his wife passed away a year later. He chronicled the time he spent on a motorcycle road trip he took all the way across Canada, down the west coast of America, and into Mexico. It's part travelogue and part self-analysis, but it did get me to thinking about my life. One of my favorite songs of theirs is called Time Stands Still, hence the name of this episode. I'll include a link to the song in Spotify in the show notes and on my website. I encourage you to listen to it. Neil was the lyricist of the band. Even though these words were written before the traumatic events of the book, they were still relevant to him then, and they seem to apply to me now. Here's a sample. Time stands still, summer's going fast, nights growing colder, children growing up, old friends growing older. Freeze this moment a little bit longer, make each sensation a little bit stronger. Experience slips away, the innocence slips away. At 58, I'm still a ways from retirement, but I see it on the horizon, trying to make sure we have financial plans in place. So I start to think, what will I do then? My wife wants to travel, and that seems reasonable. We've been so busy working to pay bills, raise kids, and take care of parents that we haven't gotten out much. Summer's going fast, nights growing colder. Maybe spend some time with grandkids we don't have yet. No pressure, kids. Some little version of yourself that you could teach things to and have some fun with, and then send home to mom and dad when you're tired of them. Just a thought. Kids growing up. Maybe connect with old friends we haven't seen in a while and reminisce about the old days. Old friends growing older. Maybe chronicle some of my life and experiences like I've done with my photography or by doing this podcast. Freeze this moment a little bit longer. Maybe take up some new hobbies or learn some new skills. Make each sensation a little bit stronger. My dad was big on tradition and legacy. January 24th is the 137th anniversary of when my grandpa McPeak left Guernsey County, Ohio, to come to South Dakota to make a new life for himself. My dad was always proud that we had been able to maintain an unbroken presence in Clark County. But I realize that will come to an end with me. The kids have moved on to other places, so when I leave or am gone, this will come to an end. Experience slips away. But just as I did when I was 18, I look forward, and the future still looks bright. It may be a little harder to see because these progressive lenses makes it more difficult to look at things without having to tilt your head back. The innocence slips away. One thing I've learned on this road trip called life is that you can't drive by looking in the rearview mirror. It's good to look back from time to time, to remember the good and learn from the rest. I just have to learn not to spend too much time there. Otherwise, I will miss the opportunities that life is presenting to me now. After all, life is made to live facing forward. Maybe we'll do things that we should have done at 18. Go and explore, discover places and people, and make something new. You never know what the future holds, but you shouldn't let that stop you.
If you have a story you'd like to tell, contact Mike on Twitter at @BardOnThePlains or by email at bardontheplains@gmail.com. For more information about the stories in this podcast, visit bardontheplains.com.